on this rap-ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on to the hearse. Party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Welcome, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. And, you know, it's a little gloomy out there outside, but it definitely is not hitting us on the inside over here. Great energy and great vibes on this amazing Monday. Hope that we can give you some of those vibes as you watch the rest of the show. Got to do this with my guy, co-host with the most, Big O. What up, Big O?
Good morning, Trey Holiday.
Hey, good morning, my friend.
Thank God it's Monday.
Yeah. Hey, made it through the weekend, huh?
Made it through the weekend and, you know, feeling good.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish the weather would match up, but, you know, Seattle in December.
Yeah, that's all right. You know, I might have the blue one, represent my guy, Matt Wells with Bomb Face, but I'm not feeling blue at all.
Yeah, Bomb Face. Huh?
Yeah, Bomb Face Co. Another amazing Black business out here. Great brand, doing some amazing work in community as well. So shout out to you, Bomb Face Co.
Yeah, got you matched up, looking good. And that blue, by the way, is popping off that background.
There we go. You guys can't see it, but I got the Bomb Face socks on too, representing fully.
Good stuff. I'm glad I saw him in the comments here. But our guy Kyle, Debonair Decor, at 2:00 today, Basic Gordon is releasing her interview that she did with Debonair Decor over at Pacific Place. Great way to support Black business this Christmas season. If you want that downtown shopping experience, go to Pacific Place to check out Debonair Decor.
Yeah, absolutely. Our guy, Kyle, man, shout out to you. He's been working really hard on that brand. And you got to love it when you see somebody who started from like the trunk of his car, man, pulling up to these events, now having an amazing storefront at Pacific Place. Shout out to you, Debonair Decor.
All right. So 2:00, be on the lookout for that across all Converge media platforms. And today we've got our own Jake Gravbrot is going to be joining us. Man, he's been doing a lot of posting on the blog about his experience there in Belize, so we're going to talk about that. And hey, let's get right into it. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. We want to remind you that right now is the perfect time for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and, tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Reminder as well that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Right there, they got SoundCloud and the comment. There's SoundCloud right there. But you can also find us on Google, Spotify, iTunes, and so many other platforms. Just search Converge Media Network. Lots of news about COVID-19 and some of everything else. I just took a COVID test this morning. For you guys who might not be aware, there's a COVID location for people downtown. In the convention center. There's a curative testing location there. Took a test this morning, get ready for travel. We got a link in the comments, though, if you need the vaccine, or if you need a booster, or if you need a test, or if you have questions. Man, it's one link kind of does it all. Put that in the comments right there. That's from our friends over at Public Health, Seattle, King County. And COVID's around, man.
Yeah. No, it is around. And I just want to remind people, stay safe out there, man. COVID is still affecting people's lives. And, I know a few people that recently have passed from COVID. It's kind of a third degree of separation. But honestly, it's a strong reminder that as they talk about us being masked up, for those of us who are ready to get vaccinated, do so. If you're still hesitant, I totally understand. It's very new, a lot of misinformation out there. But let's not forget, this is still taking people's lives. I just want to put that out there because it is important for us to stay safe.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we're actually, next week, we're going to have some specials about where COVID's at right now. And also today, man, it's a lot, King County gets a little bit more restrictive with COVID restrictions and everything else. And if you've been vaccinated, make sure you're moving with proof of your vaccination or vaccine card. Before we jump into the headlines and stuff, you're up on the blog, you and the rest of the queens. We'll put this up here. And we did a post. We had all you guys. You got it over there, Salma? We had all you guys talk a little bit about your experience. No, it's the other one, Chief. We had you guys talk a little bit more about your experience. You, T-Dub, Julia, and Besa, and people can find that up on our blog right now. And you talked a little bit of what it was like to work with the queens.
Yeah, you know what? I'm so grateful because the entire experience really centered the queens of Converge. And, it was one of those things where it's funny because we do this work to do this work, right? Not to be like, oh, it's almost like there's this title of like Queens of Converge, but we felt it wholeheartedly, not just in the title, but also in the experience that we got, in the love that was shown to us and that was poured into us, not just from the Belize, but from our very own Converge crew members right here, everybody really pulling together. And I loved being able to read this article and hear what everybody else's experience was, the other queens, and how they experienced, us working together, us supporting each other. I just agreed 100% with everything that they had to say, because it really was not just a bonding experience for us, but for the rest of our crew, and showcasing what it means for us to pour into each other's ideas, to have idea sessions, right in our hotel rooms. We were doing all of it. And shout out to the Belize Tourism Board for giving us a whole blueprint on seeing a lot of the country that really fueled our ideas and inspired us to want to be able to make sure that we're telling so many stories of the people there in Belize and the amazing work that they're doing over there. So, it was just a great time all around.
Right. We'll put the link there in the comments to that blog post. And then you got a little video clip right here. This is Brady McAtee broke out the drone. And man, look at this right here.
Yes, here we are at the Belize sign. And it's so great because when he pulled out this drone, honestly, I was like, I know this is going to be some dope footage. It is a beautiful sign, but it also is in a great location where you're still able to see the Caribbean Sea right behind us, right there on the edge. And it is a huge tourist attraction. We drove past it several times and saw people lining up to take photos here. So I'm glad that we got to get there at a point in time where not too many people were there. And you know what? Shout out to you, Brady, because you were so on point with the footage, and everybody was just on point. They're like, Jake did a bunch of photos, so we had a really great time at the sign.
All right, good stuff. Like I say, you can check that more of that out on our blog. Man, I got an email the other day, and actually I just reached out to council member Deborah Juarez, see if I might be able to talk to her today. Deborah Juarez is running for city council president, and a lot of the tribes have all come out in support of Deborah Juarez, and a lot of different other groups as well. And I'd really like to speak to Councilmember Juarez as to why she's running for council president, and I mean, how does she think she could be an effective leader? But yeah, clearly I think it's 9 people, so you need 5 votes to be president. The current council member president is Gonzalez, who of course will be leaving office. So council member president Juarez potentially.
Hey, this is it's something that I'm not too shocked of. I think Councilmember Juarez has really just tried to showcase her leadership abilities, and we know that there are some extra responsibilities that land on the council president. But it will be great to hear from her and see what she's looking to bring to that seat.
Yep, and I haven't talked to Councilmember Herbold, but that's what my understanding is. That Councilmember Herbold also is what would like that seat for council president. So maybe we'll get an opportunity to talk to both of them. So I'll reach out to Herbold today and see if that's the deal. She's running for president, and see if we can talk to both of them. All right. So Sawant Recall, man, it's one day left. I was on the Hill early this morning. You know what I'm saying? This is like my second neighborhood, Capitol Hill. And that, man, people are out. I mean, the vote no people are out. The recall people are out. I couldn't even walk like 2 blocks. This was like 8:30 this morning. People like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Have you voted yet? Have you done this and that and everything else? One day left here on the Sawant Recall, and it's been active. This is a very competitive race.
This is something I can't believe it's down to one day right now. We've been talking about this since the very beginning, since the charges got filed. And honestly, I think we understand how heated this race is and how close it may get. And this is why I'm not surprised that both sides are out full-fledged. I know just being around Garfield Park, we were doing an event and they were out there then. So the ideas around, both sides kind of trying to, canvas the territory, make sure people understand where they're coming from. It takes more than just getting people to just sign off on and say, yeah, but they have to be informed and understand what it is that they're actually either fighting for or fighting against. And that's one of the things, if you guys have not had the opportunity to kind of talk to one of these representatives on either side, they really do try to present a clear case. So
yeah, no, they're out there. And again, this election is just for the people in District 3. And that's Capitol Hill, the Central District, Leschi, Montlake areas in there. So it's D3. And like I said, what Justin Carter reported last week was that turnout is already very high. And it's going to be close. So I was asking both of these, the for and against, the people that I saw up there on Capitol Hill this morning. I was like, well, what do you think is going to happen? And really both sides are like, man, it's going to be a nail biter. They really feel that, like, the turnout has been big on both sides of this issue. And we'll see what happens. And what Justin Carter kind of alluded to is that if Sawant maintains her seat, what statement that now sends clearly throughout her district, but also throughout the city. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., Tony B, Rainier Avenue Radio, they're taking over down here. And Tony B is going to be doing a special about the Sawant Recall. That's 7 o'clock tomorrow night right here. Wherever you're watching the Morning Update show, you'll be able to watch that.
Hey, shout out to Rainier Avenue Radio and Tony B. So glad that we have a great relationship with them. And you know what? This is something that I think a lot of people are going to want to tune in for, because as we are reporting here now, this is heavy on both sides. Large voter turnout, which we didn't see in the local election. This issue right here has people fired up, whether they're for or against it. So I'm glad that Tony B and Raider Avenue Radio will be here tomorrow, or you said tomorrow night,
tomorrow,
right?
7 o'clock.
That's going to be interesting because the vote will be in. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right. So for people who drive in this city, don't block the box. We'll put this up right here. This is from the Seattle Times. If you block the box in some intersections, cameras will catch you and SDOT will mail the ticket. So basically, it looks like they're putting up like 8 cameras here for trying to get people from blocking the box. The box is the middle of the intersection and also blocking the sidewalk or bike lanes. And these new cameras that they're putting in, they said that first time you block the box, you'll get a warning from SDOT. And the second time is $75 for repeat violations. And blocking the box has become a bigger, more and more issue. I mean, we got just more people, more cars on the road, more usage of these roads, you know. And so SDOT, man, they putting up these cameras. They look at somewhere in this article, and I think we got the link in there. Possibly they said they're looking to get like 2.2 million. They said that revenues are unknown, but a city council analyst note in the fall 2020 estimated an operating cost of $48,000 per camera and projected 2.2 million first-year income to fund safety programs if 10 cameras were activated. So these guys put up 10 cameras, they're going to check in 2.2 million.
Oh my gosh.
So it's almost like, do they want people to really not block the box, or do they want them to block the box?
Well, maybe they're doing this based on, data that they have of people blocking the box. I am concerned, or like really curious to know where these cameras are. I want to make sure my car is never blocking the box. I think I try to really work hard in terms of parking, but you're right. Sometimes it gets really difficult out here. And so it'll be interesting to see how these revenues come in, honestly. And maybe people will be more alert, as fines come in, they're like, look, okay, I got the one warning. I already know what not to do. Maybe it'll dissuade people from doing so.
Yeah. Some people in this city got money though, man. And, I got friends who they just park illegally because they're like, hey man, paying the ticket is cheaper than parking in the garage. Yeah. And so they're like, yeah, I get parking tickets all the time. They just pay it. I mean, depends what resource people have. Speaking of resources here, the last of the money, that $100 million. Remember Mayor Durkin talked about the $100 million, right? Was this last year? Was it?
Yeah,
it's difficult to keep track of.
2020, yeah.
Yeah, it was June 2020. Mayor Durkin talked about the $100 million. 70 million of it is already out in the streets, and it looks like the last little bit of it here, about 28 million, coming from the Office of Civil Rights. Participatory budgeting. Man, we haven't said that in a long time. It's been so long that I can actually even say it right. Seattle looking for organizations to help shape one of the largest participatory budgeting undertakings in the nation. That's from Justin Carter over there at Capitol Hill Seattle blog. We also got something on this on our blog as well. Well, Trey Holiday, they've met the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? That was a big thing. What was going to happen? They're putting out RFPs now for the RFP is for an agency to be able to manage the participatory budget.
Yeah, this is something that I think community organizations and those that have been close to this issue have really been, close to this. I mean, they've been following this. And, we have a lot of folks with like solidarity budget that are like, yeah, what's going on with this? You have folks that are in community and different organizations that are looking at this. But ultimately, one of the big concerns in the beginning was getting a firm to do this participatory budgeting process that was outside of the state. And I really appreciate the approach to say, you know what, I've met with folks at Office of Civil Rights. They're like, look, we're not looking to have some outside experts. We want people that are really close to the issue. And so, hey, now is the time for those community organizations to step up to the plate and possibly go after this RFP so that it can be wielded in a real community style effort. That was the goal.
Yeah, no, it says demonstrated a capacity and expertise to conduct a citywide participatory budgeting program with actionable recommendations for city council, resulting in community investments. A strong connection to communities historically and currently impacted by police violence, including the Black community. sustained commitment to work with and for historically and currently marginalized communities, and in collaboration with local organizations and coalitions led by Black, Indigenous, and I'm assuming it's probably going to say people of color here, and communities of color, communities of color, to build power and local capacity for citywide PB programming, uplifting BIPOC, queer, transgender leadership to build solidarity, and a commitment to address internalized oppression, affirming all identities and values, ending all forms of oppression, which include racism, sexism, ableism, homophobia, transphobia, and misogyny. Now, this RFP is there in the Office of Civil Rights website. We've also, if you go to our blog, there's also a link to it there as well. Man, this is a heavy lift, and this really is one of the biggest PB programs in America.
It really is, and I think that this is another way that we get to lead here in the city of Seattle when we talk about taking some bold measures to rectify the harms of the past. And the language that they use there is very intentional, and it's specific for a reason. And it's really about the fact that we have to understand the underlying effects of all of this harm and oppression, and allow those who have been the most oppressed to be at the center of the solutions. And we can keep on saying this over and over again. I mean, we have amazing folks like Sean Good who come on here with all the greatest words, and the way that he says all of this, it's so eloquently. It's exactly what he's been talking about. It's exactly what so many others that we've had right here on the Morning Update Show have been talking about. And it's essentially at the core of a lot of community organizing, a lot of the work they're doing in terms of how to elevate material conditions for those who have been oppressed, and how to really change this and eliminate and eradicate this racial wealth divide. This is a great start in the right direction, oh?
Yeah, well, this was something that sat in Councilmember Tammy Morales' office. She's going to actually be with us next week. I said last week, it was this week, but it's the following week, to talk about what's going on as far as gun violence in D2. Maybe we'll also be able to ask her a question or two about this PB and, her thoughts of taking it here. We talked to her the day that it was going into committee.
Yeah.
As is, she had put her legislation in. So it'd be interesting now to talk to her months later, now that the RFP is out, and get her thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people are curious to understand kind of how this is going to shape up. And it sounds like, Office of Civil Rights is on it.
Yeah. I mean, they're in the spotlight, for sure. This isn't necessarily something that Office of Civil Rights, nobody's really done the participatory budgeting at this level, but this type of undertaking isn't something that the Office of Civil Rights has done before. And so, definitely it's a bright light on their office and Director Lockhart and everything else. And I mean, as usual, we wish everybody the best. So we want to see, what's going on there. And they're supposed to come talk to you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something that that's what I'm saying. I'm looking forward to, because for me being so close to this process, it is important. And I was participating. I mean, they were like, no, we want to reach out to people even to get that language in the RFP correct. So they did reach out to community groups and organizations and individuals that they know have already been a part of this entire process. And ultimately, we saw a heavy push for investment in community. And so we want to make sure that this RFP and this now $28 million is invested in the right ways. And of course, I got to address the elephant in the room. There's always this idea that with I-200, we're not able to say explicitly, hey, a Black community gets this and so. So we have to be very, I think, mindful of how we address this investment. But that's something that I think the Office of Civil Rights is definitely putting into play here. Oh,
yeah. And like I said, we'll stay on top of it and we'll get director. Well, there's a few people from that office that are actually over the next maybe month come in and talk and give more information to the community. But the big picture here is $28 million. The RFP's out there. Hey, if you got the capacity or the expertise and all this other stuff, go to the Office of Civil Rights website, or you can find the post on this on our blog. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we're joined by the big fella, Jake Gravbrot. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
It's Gordon here on Converge Media, giving you that tea you didn't know you needed for Market Street Shoes over in Ballard. Check this out. Not only do they have great shoes for the summertime, but they have the shoes that you didn't even know you needed for the fall and winter. We all know it not only rains and snows a lot out here, so you definitely need those boots, but you also need a little bit of luggage, or at least a bag to put your clothes in, because let's be frank, we all love to get out of here during the fall and winter and go somewhere a little bit warmer. So whether you need accessories, shoes, or a little bit of luggage to jump on that plane, trust and believe Market Street Shoes has everything that you need. You just need to pull up and find it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap-ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Pacific Northwest Ballet is thrilled to be back on stage with your favorite holiday tradition, the Nutcracker. Brighten your holidays with this timeless tale, performed by PNB's incredible company of dancers to the live magic of the PNB Orchestra, playing Tchaikovsky's classic score. Treat your loved ones to the Nutcracker at Seattle Center's McCaw Hall. Tickets and health and safety information at pnb.org.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Joined now by my good friend, my partner in crime and other stuff, Jay Gravbrot. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's Monday, trying to hit this week with the feet on the ground. I got out this morning already, did 30 minutes exercise, ran some stairs this morning, got all my calories burned before I had even stepped foot in the office. So, it's Monday. Where you at?
We're kind of matching a little bit.
I saw that, actually.
By the way, Wu-Tang, this camera chief, Wu-Tang forever. Everywhere I go, I be somewhere, some random dude like, "Woo, it's the Woo." You know what I'm saying?
It probably is like some random white dude too, because there's always
it always is.
Wu-Tang always has resonated with the white guys. I don't know, and with the black guys too. But I grew up in Yakima, and people were like Wu-Tang.
Yeah, it always is. All right, so we're talking about a few things here today. And one is a new experience, and the other we'll talk about a historic moment last night in the world of baseball. We're big baseball fans, even come all around Converge. But we got a new blog post this up, and so I'm gonna go ahead and put that link there in the comments. And you talked about, what's the name of this city?
Lamanai.
Lamanai, and it means submerged crocodile, right?
Yeah, indeed. Every Mayan city, that I was able to visit actually a couple while I was down in Belize, and they've all got, a meaning to them. And this one being submerged crocodile, and it was for pretty obvious reason.
All right. And so now you took your, we're going to put up some photos here first. Go ahead and put up the photo reel. And these are the photos. I'll just let you talk through this.
Yeah, you can see right there. The various different wildlife that I was able to actually capture on the river itself. So it's a 25-mile trip to Lamanai from Orange Walk town, and you can drive it by boat or you can drive it by actual vehicle. And I chose to take a boat, private boat there. Saw so many different types of animals along the actual river and in the ruins of the city itself. But submerged crocodile, is what the city's name is for.
First thing I have to say is I'm glad you made it back safe. That would have been horrible. Hanging out with the submerged crocodiles. You know why I really like these things and kind of uplifting it is because, you know, you're such a great nature photographer. And all of us were kind of typecast in the moment around the Seattle protest. Some people thought that Converge only popped up for the protest. Some people, you know, because almost every day for a long time, it was like protest photos. And so, you know, we're kind of typecast in the moment that people met us. And what's really great is that our audience is being able to see like your capabilities so much more and all this stuff that you've been doing nature wise. Now, this you shot is actually for GTFO season 2, right?
Correct. Yeah. And there were a few different days down in Belize where I was able to get away and do a few separate items, and the Mayan ruins being one of those that I had on the agenda to be able to explore. And actually, you know, the Mayan Empire lasted for a very long period of time, but I'm half Hispanic, and my real dad, that side of the family is from Mexico. And so, you know, the Mayan Empire itself was located in Mexico, and it stretched down through Central America, with like the largest contingent of cities and population being in Belize. So there was so much to explore, and it was kind of just an interesting, you know, time for me to be able to see how what could have been like even my, you know, indigenous ancestors, what they did with cities and trade, and, you know, where they were located at. And, you know, we all know how impeccable the Mayans were with their calendar and their locations of, you know, where the sun is and stars and solstice. And, you know, they're just an incredible and fascinating culture to study and to learn about. So I kind of took it upon myself to try and flesh out some of that information and be able to tell it visually.
All right, now we got some video here too. If for you guys out there that have been following Gravbrot, you know he's all about his sunrises and sunsets, and this is a sunset, right? This is a go ahead and set this one over.
Yeah, so this first clip, you know, I'm doing my best to try to film as much as I possibly can and get content for this. But, you know, as I'm ripping down this river with my guide, Denicio, we were coming east and west. It bends quite a bit. And so at one point, you know, you're looking east, and then the next you're looking west, and the sun was coming down as we were going back from the city itself. And I came around this corner and saw the sun setting and the reflection off the water. And you'll see here in this clip my reaction to it.
You look really happy, bro.
I mean, I think I said it somewhere, or at least wrote it, you know, that like, I mean, I think I flourish in scenarios like that. I love the sunrises and I love the sunsets and what they signify, but you know, just the actual beauty of them too. And to be able to see something like that, like I'd never seen it before. You know, I've watched a million sunsets, but I've never seen one from on the river as you're, you know, ripping down it, you know, at speeds and angles that only the best boat captains would be able to actually navigate. And to see it reflected on the surface of the water like that was just, it was incredible.
All right, and we talk about the skill of the boat captain here. We got another clip, huh?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, as I was going, so like I said, it was 25 miles each direction. So it was a 50-mile round trip on the boat. And when I got there, initially, I was actually going to try to drive this road. And I met up with a tour, you know, a tour company, asked them some questions. And they said, well, normally you leave at 9 a.m. And I didn't get there until like 1:30 in the afternoon. And so sunset, you know, in Belize was just past 5 p.m. The park itself closed at 4:30. And so if I was going to drive in another hour and then have to drive back out another hour in the darkness, it was like, man, this is going to be cutting it pretty close. And this tour operator said, I'll do this for you. And he gave me a price on, you know, a private boat out there. And I was like, I think I'm only going to get a chance to do this once. I probably should, as against, you know, all better judgment, you know, financially. I'm like, I probably should do this. And I'm so grateful that I did, because there really, truly was nothing that was going to experience this like what that was on the boat with Denicio. And Denicio was a 20-year-long boat captain. He grew up in a village that was on the New River, as local of a guide as you could possibly get. And the way that he so deftly navigated this river, there was a point in the actual river that was called Snake Alley, and it was so thin and it wove through like a snake. And he just, without even flinching, was just maneuvering through this river. It was such a sight to behold. And I mean, I was never at one point was I scared, which was quite a testament to, his skill at driving a boat.
Go ahead and play this clip, someone. Yeah. So people should know I haven't prayed as much in a long time as where like the whole group, 15 of us would be somewhere on a guided tour. And here's Jake be like, hey, bro, I think I want to drive to this place. It's like 4 hours each way. It's this and that. I'd be like, brother, we just need to pray. we need to pray for your savers. I was like, Jake, you got to share your contact. Let me know where you're at. It's tracking you the whole time. Good stuff. What any indication of when you think you're going to start dropping these GTFO episodes?
I've got one last trip for the year scheduled tonight, and I'm going to finish filming up the rest of what I've got on my agenda. So once I get that, I'll be able to start working on episodes, and my hope would be that we can start pushing stuff through in January, right in the middle of cold season. Can we start looking at stuff to make us think about warmer weather?
Man, okay. You fly out tonight
at 6 o'clock.
Man, I thought I stayed on the move. Who are you flying on?
Flying to Maui with Alaska, because I'm always flying with Alaska.
That's like your airline, dog. Me and Trey, I was here when we were the other day. I was like, man, I haven't flown Alaska in 20 years. How many years had it been for you, Trey? At least 3-4 years. You fly Alaska every dang time, huh?
Yeah, there was a certain point, early on, like in my 20s, I probably had zero brand loyalty when it came to flying, just like whoever I could get a cheap flight out on or whatever. But 6-7 years ago, I think for me, probably it was like the Alaska credit card. Ultimately, where you're like, oh, I got this. I probably should start using Alaska for everything. But I had heard already great things about them as a company, and that's one of the reasons why I've continued to support them over the years. And I think as we have been able to work on, certain things that they've given us, as like here, like the commitment. I knew about what they were doing already with historically Black colleges and universities, but to be able to go down and be a part of that in person and have Alaska ask us to do that, but then also ask us to keep coming back for other press release kind of, items, to me was like, all right, cool. Well, now I'm not just hearing it. I'm seeing it from up close and in person. I'm seeing that it's not just a matter of talking, but they're walking, so that to me is a big thing, because it's very easy for any kind of a company to just, put words out there and have them really just kind of ring hollow. But for me, Alaska has been nothing but genuine in their purpose and their intention. And ultimately, even this within the last couple of weeks of bringing a crew of 16 people down to Belize to document this beautiful country was kind of just that extra, like, I know exactly why I fly Alaska.
Man, you ain't got no BOGO ticket for me.
They just announced a buy one, get one free today on the site. So if we want to go somewhere, let's do it.
I'm ready to go to Maui with you. Actually, me and Trey are heading other places, but we're going to have to catch up with you down in Hawaii. One last thing here before I get out of it. Me and you are both big baseball fans, and really we said that this is going to be our next trip together, is to Kansas City, to the Negro League Hall of Fame. This was amazing news yesterday. Buck O'Neil was elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I got a clip here from a TV station in Kansas City.
Great news for Kansas City. Buck O'Neil is now a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame. The Kansas City legend was snubbed from an election back in 2006. 15 years later, he's taking his rightful place in Cooperstown. Abby Dodge is live from the Negro League's Baseball Museum tonight. And Abby, what a night for Bob Kendrick and the rest of the folks down there.
I know Bob just described it as pure jubilation, and that's really what it was. From the first fact that they rattled off about Buck O'Neil, Bob Kendrick, the president of the Negro League's Baseball Museum here, and everyone else in the room, they knew that Buck O'Neil was finally a Hall of Famer. This was the crowd this evening when they officially said his name, Buck O'Neil. It was 15 years in the making. That's probably why Buck's longtime friend and now president of the museum, that doubles as Buck's biggest achievement, shed a tear or two. Out of 10 nominees, Buck was one of only 2 selected in his category. That gave everyone here a little bit of pause. Buck's name was the second read, but it was worth the wait.
It means everything, because when I had to make that walk from our upstairs conference room down here to the Field of Legends in 2006, it was one of the most difficult things I ever had to do, to let everybody know that he didn't get in. And to have them back with us, to be here, no matter what the verdict was going to be, it was comforting. And I'm so glad that the outcome was what we had all hoped that it would be.
And it has just been a night of joy, hugs, and like Bob said a couple of times throughout the night, pure jubilation. We're going to have much more from him and a lot of other people that showed up to honor Buck. That's coming up at 10. Live from the Negro League's Baseball Museum, now the home of Hall of Famer Buck O'Neil, Abby Dodge, KCTV5 News.
Here's the thing. Persistence. You've a lot of times there's no exact science to how a player gets into the Baseball Hall of Fame. You know, it's voted on by writers. In the aftermath of that, once their eligibility is up, if they haven't made it, then they can still make it based upon a veterans committee. And, you know, there's other factors that play into that. But, you know, there are so many incredible players, some of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time, that have emanated from the Negro Leagues. And we know some of those names, you know, the big ones. Obviously, you've got, you know, the Jackie Robinsons and Satchel Pages and players like that really paved the way. But there are others, so many, that didn't get the credit and the just, you know, the due that they were deserved. And I say deserved because, you know, we're not always deserving of everything, but some of these players, they absolutely created a passion for the game in people, their community, everyone that watched them play, and their legacy should live on. And so for this to be something where, you know, in the aftermath and many years down the line, Buck O'Neil gets voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, not just the Negro League's Hall of Fame, but recognized just globally as the game of baseball in every facet. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and you know, Buck O'Neil, a standout for the Kansas City Monarchs, was also the very first black coach in Major League Baseball. And if you follow, I like this though, because it's like we've stayed on this, you know, about because we love baseball and we love the highlight and the contribution. We did salute to the Negro Leagues earlier this year. We've been covering all these stories, and so just wanted to make sure and uplift that. It was, you know, it's a big deal seeing that. And once these records get all merged, you know, the Negro League records and Major League records, some of them giants in Major League are gonna fall, because, you know, some of this stuff these guys were doing in the Negro Leagues, the only sport in America that we owned, by the way, the Negro Leagues, you know, but it's good to recognize that. Jake, man, people can follow your blog post now. They go to whereweconverge.com/post. And how can people follow you on social media? And also you have a Patreon, right?
Yeah. You can find me on social media. It's at walk.into.the.light. Walk into the light, just with dots between. I'm only on Instagram. You can find me on Patreon as well, and that's patreon.com/getthefoutside. I try to do some specific posts on there, put full actual photo galleries in there, and I've been writing in there usually like 4 times a week or so, give full posts of actual photo stories just from getting outside. So some of that's the trips that I take, and some of that's just walking through the city and showcasing what our actual beautiful city of Seattle has to offer too.
All right, good stuff. Jake Gravbrot, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Have fun in Hawaii.
I will.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Trey Holiday joins the set. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Lisa Gordon here on Converge Media, giving you that tea you didn't know you needed for Market Street Shoes over in Ballard. Check this out. Not only do they have great shoes for the summertime, but they have the shoes that you didn't even know you needed for the fall and winter. We all know it not only rains and snows a lot out here, so you definitely need those boots, but you also need a little bit of luggage, or at least a bag to put your clothes in, because let's be frank, we all love to get out of here during the fall and winter and go somewhere a little bit warmer. So whether you need accessories, shoes, or a little bit of luggage to jump on that plane, trust and believe Market Street Shoes has everything that you need. You just need to pull up and find it.
From Lincoln Center Theater that brought you The King and I and South Pacific comes a revival of the most perfect musical of all time, My Fair Lady.
Playing the Paramount Theater December 28th to January 2nd. Tickets at stgpresents.org.
Pacific Northwest Ballet is thrilled to be back on stage with your favorite holiday tradition, the Nutcracker. Brighten your holidays with this timeless tale, performed by PNB's incredible company of dancers to the live magic of the PNB Orchestra, playing Tchaikovsky's classic score. Treat your loved ones to the Nutcracker at Seattle Center's McCaw Hall. Tickets and health and safety information at pnb.org.
All right. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Trey Holiday back on the set.
Yeah, man. Jake always brings the greatest stuff, man. And he showed me some of that footage he got out there in Belize. I was like, man, he really got the F outside.
He going to Hawaii tonight. It's cold in here.
Yeah, he's getting away from the gloom.
Yeah. Well, we're going somewhere too, right?
Yes, we are. You know, coming up this week, we get to go celebrate our good friend and a friend of the show as well, a friend of Converge, Ashley McGurk. Shout out to you, Ashley and Houston. They're getting married.
That's right. They're getting married to St. Thomas in the
Thomas.
Virgin Islands. Yeah. We won't be broadcasting live from the Virgin Islands. I haven't been to last time I've been in a wedding or at a wedding, it's probably been like 20 years plus as well. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I used to move around so much. I think people just didn't even invite me because they just assumed that I wouldn't make it. But I usually somebody invite me somewhere, I'm gonna go, especially when it's in the Virgin Islands. And again, that's Ashley McGirt, MSW, LISCW.
Yes.
The therapist, Washington Therapy Fund. And yeah, she's getting married to Houston down there in the Virgin Islands, and me and you'll be hanging out down there.
Absolutely. And, shout out to Ashley in Houston. I was able to be there when Houston popped the question, and it was so beautiful the way he did it. He was so thoughtful. And, one of the things I love about love, and I'm going to be honest about Black love, I got to say, is that when you know your partner, he knew exactly what to do to surprise her. She had no idea, honestly. She was so shocked. And shout out to you, Houston, because you did a great job surprising her. So I can't wait to, celebrate their nuptials.
Yeah, brother. Thanks for raising the bar for everybody else. Good job. That'll be good stuff. And then so Monday, Tuesday, and then next week. Man, we just got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. All right. So I wanted to, some of this we covered fast, the fathers and sons together, in some of their events a few months ago. And we ended up doing 2 edits. We did the initial edit that a lot of people saw here, which was addressing gun violence. But they also facilitated a really great conversation around COVID and the impacts of COVID out there in South Seattle in the Rainier Beach neighborhood. And so this is the second edit, and this is around COVID conversation. I thought that it was important that we play this because, we want to be able to uplift conversations in our neighborhood. And a lot of times we see conversations and it's not necessarily happening in our neighborhood. This was so well put together and everything else. This video was edited by Brady McAtee. Brady's getting a lot of work out these days. And it was in partnership with the Department of Neighborhoods.
The Barbershop Chat is a unique event that has always brought fathers and sons together. It's a place where they have conversations. It's a place of laughter. It's a place of food. It's a place of deep conversations. And it's not necessarily a father. We recognize that our community has a lot of fatherless homes. It's for the mothers that are standing in that gap. It's for the aunties and the coaches, all of those adult figures that stand in the gap for those parental roles. It's important for events like this to bring them out, to have those conversations, and to empower our youth and to empower that relationship. That's where bonds are formed.
But let's have a conversation about COVID, and let's have a conversation about how that's impacting us as a community.
I need 10 people to come up and form a circle right here. If I just need 10 people, please come on up. One of the things that's happened with this whole vaccination thing is we've been inundated with numbers and percentages and all of that. But what this really is about is forming a circle. So if everybody in this circle represents 10 people who've been vaccinated, and this is our community, this is how it works. So one of the things that we're trying to do is figure out what's the best way to maintain that circle. Circle's a very strong structure that protects. So if you all think about joining hands, I need one person to go in the center. And then if you all could join hands. So this one person is the person who's not vaccinated, but as you see, the circle is still intact and we can protect. I need another person to go in the middle.
There is a sense of concern within certain communities about yet another study or another vaccine, and that might be some of the challenges that folks face when they hear about getting a shot, right? About something that they really don't know about.
As a healthcare professional, I don't think collectively we've been very careful historically to protect folks in the research setting, in the care setting, so I understand the lack of trust.
Again, we still have protection. 2 people unvaccinated, and these 2 people may be, if any of this applies to you, put your hand up or shake your head. Anybody that lives with you or that you know under the age of 12 has diabetes, maybe lupus, maybe sarcoidosis, maybe they're on chemotherapy or have completed chemotherapy. Those folks are vulnerable, and the vaccine is, if they're under the age of 12, won't apply to them, or when they get the vaccine, it won't work as robust as it will for those who don't have diabetes or sarcoidosis or lupus or are on chemotherapy. So another person, enter the circle.
A lot of the lifestyle issues that gets us to having excessive weight, that gets us to having diabetes, hypertension, heart problem, all of those are our risk factors for having a severe form of COVID. Many of those individuals who don't have risks may have mild COVID, may beat it. But those individuals that have chronic medical conditions could suffer from it greatly up until death. So yes, it's very important to have good lifestyle, but even those individuals who are in the gym every single day could get COVID, and depending on their underlying condition, they could suffer from it. So it's very important to be protected, and vaccine is a good form of protection.
So we still have what they like, you may have heard on news, herd immunity, but I'll just say protection. The circle is still intact. Another person in the center. Now here's the difficult part. If the people in the center were actually spread just 3 feet apart, if you just took 2 steps back, now we need one more person in the center or in the group.
For me, I think that going back to school would be like a pretty good idea, but at the same time, I'm not 100% on board. I might just do like a hybrid, like half in school, half at home, because I'm not because most of the problem is like mostly trusting in the people to like keep their mask on or to get vaccinated and like keep each other safe and to like keep their area sanitized and clean, because once like one class is done, only one person has to like slip up and just like not clean their area, then the next person who comes in could possibly like get infected. And it's not the most safe idea, but I do think it would help like a lot of students get back into school and increase their education more than it did when everybody was online.
Regarding going back to school, I think there's definitely a fear in that, because on one hand, going back to school means that we would get a better education, and learning online is never easy. You don't have the classroom setting, it's harder to ask questions, so there's all these obstacles you have to face. But going back also, like it was spoken, is giving so much trust into your peers, and you getting COVID doesn't only mean that your life is affected, it also means the people around you, your loved ones, are also affected. So I think it's good to have a fear in that, because that means that you care and that you care about your loved ones.
At some point, we don't have the protection that circle isn't going to hold. So the folks that we know that we are part of our lives that we love, that are under the age of 12, on chemotherapy, have received chemotherapy, have some condition that affects their immune system, our community, that circle, isn't as strong if we're not all committed to keeping that circle and making it strong through vaccination. It's not about the numbers, it's not about what percent, it's about our community and keeping that circle strong. And that's what this is about. Thank you.
When I look around my neighborhood of Rainier Beach, I see family and friends, the people I've grown alongside, the people who I graduated elementary school with, and the people who make me feel a part of a community. I am a product of my life in Rainier Beach, built on the motivation from my mother to excel at everything I do, and given the tools to invoke change in my community. I am a part of a world that feeds off of systematic racism and fueled with fire and passion and a need to bring change and help my community thrive. I am a piece of my neighborhood. I am a graduate of Rainier View Elementary and a person who frequents the Ethiopian stores supporting immigrant businesses. I am a part of the diverse community. I am a student, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and a resident of Rainier Beach. When I leave, I want to leave behind a safe community that my little sister can grow in, a community filled with beauty and art, music, food, and happy memories. However, when I leave this community physically, I will still be tethered here, because Rainier Beach is my first home. I am amazing because of my perseverance and dedication to everything I do. I am amazing because of my love for my community and my passion for justice and change, a passion that I gained after seeing through the news and in my own city and community the injustice, prejudice, white supremacy, and racism that people of color have to face every day, whether it's a clerk eyeing you in the store or a classmate wanting to touch your hair without asking, or having to educate your peers one day about why what they said was racist, just to do the same thing again. I am amazing because of my brave voice in discussions and my culture, music, and traditions that make me special and I try my best to share. I am amazing because being a black woman in America is hard, from our rights from years before I was even born to now, for women's rights and equality, to having to learn to love myself in a country where beauty standards are inclusive. I am amazing because I learned to embrace my hair, my skin color, and my culture, and learned to speak up against racism for myself and others. I am amazing because I am a part of a community of strong people who persevere every day and work hard to create change so they can help their kids outgo the struggle through their sacrifices. I am amazing because of my melanin and my blackness and my strength and passion. I am amazing because I work every day to make America a better place, starting from my community of Rainier Beach.
Wow, so powerful. The entire piece, just so powerful. And I'm so glad that we got to see more of what that event had to offer. What an amazing edit, Brady. And honestly, that young woman speaking there at the end just gave me so much inspiration, hope, and real pride in the next generation that's coming up to understand the nuances of injustice that is happening around them and the ways that they can pull their energy and power and strength together to eradicate it. What a beautiful, beautiful event. And I loved the circle of us keeping our community safe. Shout out to everybody who was a part of that amazing production and that amazing event, pulling the people out of community to talk about something that is very, becoming very difficult for us to talk about in our communities and be open about the ways that we're experiencing COVID in this entire pandemic, and just ended on a beautiful message there from that young woman. Amazing.
Yeah, no doubt. Big shout out to FAST, Fathers and Sons Together. Wilmores, they're the ones who put that event together, and I mean, we got so much great stuff out of those two events, and then also Alvin over in Department of Neighborhoods and being intentional and want to be able to tell the story. And I'm just always real proud of our team too. That was shot by Carlos Imani and Steve Hickey, Vic. A few other people were out there, and then the first edit was Gary Washington, the fast edit. Then this edit right here, Brady McAtee. And I think it also speaks to the fact that it's like, we're supporter funded. People support Converge, but it's the quality of the production that keeps coming out of here, So real proud of that. I got one more thing to share with you. We got a minute or two, and then we'll talk about some upcoming events. Speaking of quality of production, our youngster Salman Abu Kwashi. I told him I had a vision of something, and we talked about it with Chelsea Richardson. Chelsea, the very first person to perform here in this studio. It's not just our TV studio. There's a performance space in here as well. And we said she wrote a poem specifically honoring the wall and our Black Media Matters studio here. And we wanted to make sure that everything needed to match up to the importance of the moment. And so this young man, Salman, he put it all together, and we just released it yesterday or the day before. Turned out great. This is Chelsea Richardson. The name of the poem is Still Golden, and it's honoring our studio here.
I say to you, community, let's take up space. We weren't supposed to make it through the vast Atlantic or back to the door of no return. So shine like the gold in our skin and the first porch light ever lit. 'Cause we lit and we stay lit. It is with love that everything we touch is ablaze with brilliance. We made jazz and had the blues so hard we're still nodding our heads, but this time we sampled What a Wonderful World. What a way to escape the pain and revel in joy. To the Marsha P. Johnsons who woke up our pride. To the Jimi Hendrix who burned his guitar. For the tennis-playing sisters, for those who didn't make it. And I promise not to fake it. We still want our 40 acres, a mule, and reparations. To the barbers and stylists who still carry on tradition. For the laughter through the tough times, the dead and the living that we hold sacred. To be a people who built empires out of sticks and stones and turned the names they called us into songs. We are still here.
Beautiful work, Chelsea. And shout out to Salman and our production team for making it happen. And again, as O said, the first performance, but definitely not the last. It's time to unveil this space, and make sure that we start bringing our beautiful people in. That was phenomenal. And honestly, I loved every bit of that piece. And to think that every day we get the honor to be alongside all of these amazing individuals. It is such a reflection of Black brilliance that is right here on this wall behind us. And her poem definitely reflected that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Thank you, Chelsea, for that. Still golden. I can't wait now to get more artists here in the space. wanted to bring something up here. We'll talk about it throughout the week. Is the Soul Market, right?
Yeah, Soul Market coming up on the 11th and 12th right there at Pier 62. You know what? Shout out to Africatown Community Land Trust. I know that the Friends at the Waterfront has been meeting up with them saying, okay, let's make sure we get Black vendors in here. And I've been hearing about some amazing people that are already support that are going to be down there. And so I know it takes real community connection to make sure people know about this opportunity. I'm excited. I mean, we'll be out of town, but I was telling everybody I know, man, if you got the time, make it down there to Soul Market. It's a great way for you to support Black businesses during this holiday season.
Right. And that's the 11th and the 12th down at Pier 62. Right. All right, Trey Holiday, we went overtime. Any last words before we get out of here?
Oh, for me, always see yourself as a part of the solution. You see the work of Jay Gravbrot today and how his photojournalism really impacts a certain message. You also got to see Chelsea Richardson and her amazing artwork. Man, get out there. See yourself as a part of this amazing solution or create your own.
All right. Oh, tomorrow, got a handcrafted motion graphic here. Tomorrow, we're joined by the wordy and nerdy Kevin Schofield. You know, Kevin, man, he's hanging it up December 31st. So I think this very well might be his last interview here in the studio. So we'll send him out the right way. Kevin will join us tomorrow. That's about it for me. I'm ready to go turn on the heat.
Yeah.
On that note, want to remind everybody, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Sing it again now. The victory is won. Victory is won. Victory is won.